welcome Uncle Bobby B as he joins Little Brady to talk a bit about MLW history. History, history, history.
What is going on, you bunch of degenerates? Yes, you hear me. It is me, Little Brady. Tit is on assignment this evening. But I got a guest with me. Outside of the birds chirping, the dogs barking, the kids playing in suburbia here, we have Uncle Bobby B. Welcome, Uncle Bobby B, to the law. And if people don't know who Uncle Bobby B is, he is a MLW expert, so much that he has made some pretty crazy movements with his camera here and in the world of MLW plugging. So, uh, without going in too hard into this, I'll let Bobby plug himself. Bobby, who are you? What do you do? And what do you want these people to know about you?
Hoy hoy. My name is Bobby B, as Brady mentioned, and as he also mentioned, been doing an MLW podcast called MLW Rewind with my boy George Mackay from Straight Talk Wrestling. And we've been doing that about 4 years now and achieved a moderate level of success. I mean, Jacob Fatu put us over on Twitter when he was there, got us an episode that was sponsored by MLW themselves. And a lot of the talent have told us they listen to the podcast, so that's really cool. So I like to think I know a little bit about, the major league of wrestling.
You know a little bit about setting your camera to auto zoom settings, and I love it because it's not only showing off your beauty in ways that I never thought I could see it. It's also showing off your crazy collection behind you. So you are a collector. You are a an aficionado of all things wrestling, right?
Yes, I appreciate wrestling. Pretty much wrestling and music are my two things. I zoom in on my face automatically, and I play bass in a band called the Dominion, and I do wrestling stuff. Currently training as a referee, but gotta be a little more productive with that.
Okay, so we've been saying on the law here now since we relaunched this whole beast of a trademark, that we've wanted you on the show since day one. We haven't fitted into a schedule. You're a busy man. You're training to be a referee. You've been doing some ring announcing on indie shows, a whole bunch of stuff that maybe you didn't want people to know about, but I just told them anyway. Um, but let's get to the meat and potatoes of this gimmick. Let's follow the thumbnail. What's the deal with MLW? So explain it to me. How did it go from an indie company? Maybe it never started as an indie company. I don't know. Like I said, just school me. But how did it go? My question is going to be, how did it go from a small company to where it's now recognized as one of like the big 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's weird. So like MLW first kicked off around 2002. They had some interest. I mean, the first champion was and the current champion, I might add, Satoshi Kojima. And they had Mike Awesome after that, Steve Corino. But then MLW kind of took a break. They just went away for a bit and came back in 2018. And the first guy to win the vacant title, you might have heard of him. His name was Shane Strickland. I think he's done pretty well for himself since then. I don't know. But yeah, MLW is really this weird kind of amalgamation of American and um, catch wrestling and lucha libre. Not just the way they wrestle, but the way they present it. It's not a purely American form of pro wrestling, and it's not purely a Mexican style. It's a little bit in between, which nobody really does. And I mean, if I had to liken it to something, you could say it's a little bit like Lucha Underground, which, from what I understand, a few years back was kind of the idea. They wanted to restart Lucha Underground, but for whatever reason, it did not come to fruition. If you go back and look at MLW's roster from a few years back, it's very, very similar to what we saw. And I am really losing my mind with this camera
I
here.
was just gonna say I'm not laughing at the words you're saying. I am so intrigued by what setting you have that camera on. Do you know what setting it's on? Because it is lovely.
It made me download the StreamYard app in order to join because I'm going off my iPad here.
That's the software we use. Yep.
There you go, and I couldn't just like join from my browser. I had to download this app, so maybe I have to play with the app settings next time. But this is a very psychedelic effect.
Yeah, it
Um,
actually works for what's going on right now. Because I was hoping that this would be a disaster. MLW. Let's go back to
right?
that. So
Yeah,
MLW,
that's funny.
it went from being something that's considered, you said, like a lucha underground, or could be considered something like that. What's going on behind the scenes that has made this company have such a massive marketing campaign?
Well, I'm not. There's certain aspects of it that I'm not aware of because I don't work for MLW, and I'm not a big, like, I
Aren't
want
you
to.
a journalist?
I mean, I guess you could say, but I'm not officially employed by them. Like, I just cover their material out of an appreciation for a product because I like doing it and I like what they're putting out there, and I try to get more eyes on the product because I really don't understand why more
Yeah.
people aren't watching it. The wrestling's good, the storylines are good. They have a core group of talent because again, it's not, they don't have the resources of some of those bigger companies. So they have a few guys that are under contract that are core, and then they bring in other people to run programs with them, which I think is actually a good concept because it keeps things fresh, right? You get a lot of different matches. And some of their last few champions, guys like Low Key, Tom Lawler, Jacob Fatu, Alex Hammerstone. Hammerstone's at TNA now. Fatu's at WWE now. A lot of really good talent has come through MLW too in the last few years and gone on to great things.
So if you're an in between, I consider you a broadcaster. I
Sure.
hate the term journalist because I feel like a lot of these guys in the wrestling world and combat sports world have labeled themselves journalists. In reality, they'd rather be influencers, but they're too fucking ugly, so they can't start an Instagram and an OnlyFans, so they do that and say, "Hey, we're a journalist." But can I ask you a journalistic kind of question?
Of course.
Me wanting to know, as a broadcaster, you being maybe a journalist or maybe a broadcaster, what went on with the MLW settlement with WWE?
So that's kind of what I was getting to. So, my understanding is MLW a couple years back was looking for broadcast partner.
Yeah, don't
They
mind the
were
jet engine coming in behind you.
they were doing stuff on YouTube prior to that, which is great for accessibility, but it doesn't drive income. So they needed a broadcasting partner that they could then push to advertisers and get more money. So apparently they had worked out a deal with Vice TV. And unfortunately, because I'm Italian and I talk with my hands, this camera is just gonna go nuts. But yeah, so they had worked out a deal with Vice, and this was around the time that Dark Side of the Ring was just starting to kick off. And there was a basically an antitrust lawsuit settled that alleged WWE used their contacts to tell Vice TV to kibosh the MLW deal. Otherwise, they weren't going to let them use any of their talent or stuff for Darkseid. That was the allegation. Now, I haven't heard anything about that in quite some time. My understanding is that it was settled, and
They got paid out, did they not?
I believe that they just decided to pay MLW out. So that also explains why we've been seeing a lot more big names lately. Guys like veterans, but still big names like Minoru Suzuki coming over and stuff like that. There've been a lot of international Japanese wrestlers coming over. So there's a little bit more money to play with.
Yeah.
Production has definitely leveled up. Like their video packages and stuff are, I'm telling you, they're on par with WWE. Like you watch one of these packages and you are hyped.
So how do you watch MLW? Is it a subscription service online? Is it on YouTube? Like what's the routes if somebody's watching this, I've never even heard of it before because we know we have a lot of young listeners as well. Unfortunately, you're watching me
Of
smoke
course.
cigarettes. Don't do that, young people. But where would they actually find it if they wanted to support MLW and check it out?
Well, one of the things about them is they're still really searching for that solid broadcast partner. So they've been kind of in a state of flux. They've been going to YouTube, off YouTube. So right now, the programming is 2 shows per month,
Okay.
and there'll be two long shows, like 2 hours. One will be a free PLE on YouTube, and the other one will be on Triller Fight. So it's like $6.99 a month for the subscription, and you're getting not only the MLW stuff, but like
You're getting everything on. Yeah,
everything that's
Triller
on
is jam packed full of shit.
so it's I mean it's worth it for the MLW stuff alone for me. Never mind all the other things, but they are pretty good with keeping their stuff accessible. Like if it's not on YouTube, it's something you can just watch, and you don't have to have some crazy cable service or anything like that. But it's a very interesting company, and a lot of great characters behind the scenes there, and a lot of great wrestlers that have come in and out of there. I mean, They do a lot of surprises. I mean, we had Raven running an angle for the last few months with his own faction, The Calling. Brought in guys like Ricky Shane Page, Akira, a bunch of young wrestlers, Zeta Steel, Griffin McCoy, some guys who needed a fresh start like Jake Christ, who's just been fantastic. What a great story of redemption for that guy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's just been a really good run these last few years with MLW, and I'm waiting for everybody to take notice.
So you were dropping names there of people to kind of keep an eye on or watch out for that are notable in MLW. Who do you think is the next big star to get purged from the company?
To get purged.
Well, if we're talking in terms of of taking talent away from something that's doing well, like Hammerstone, like you said, has gone now to TNA. Jacob Fatu, which is what they were hanging their hat on for a while, is
Well,
now in the WWE.
yeah. And I mean, Jacob Fatu's a tremendous talent, and I'm
The
super
best,
happy for that guy. He's a really nice guy.
top three in the world right now.
He's got a bunch of kids, and now he's
175 apparently.
yeah. So like he put us over on Twitter to the company. He tagged MLW and said sponsor these guys, and
That's
that
nice.
was
That
like
was nice.
the high point of for us in the podcasting that we've been doing for years is to actually have the talent put you over. That's the best feeling.
He's tipping
So
the cap, and that. Yeah, it shows that you guys are doing your job right, and you're doing it well. So maybe you are a journalist.
yeah, maybe. And I mean, we also try, you know how pro wrestling media is. A lot of
Ugh.
guys will just record themselves complaining and shitting on something for an hour and a half and then call it a podcast and then wonder why nobody listens to it. Yeah, but you at
Well,
least are funny.
well, and
But
we get a lot more listeners than we want. I know
there you
that
go.
sounds so fucking weird to say, but it's at the point now where it's like I just, I don't, I might cut it off after 50.
Well, don't cut it off, man.
No,
You
I'll
need
give it to
that.
KJ.
Oh, KJ. KJ's the best.
Yeah, we're giving it to KJ. We're gonna just leave the law with KJ. Eventually, me and Tit are gonna die, and KJ's gonna have the whole network full of a bunch of deviants.
Oh,
And
shit.
maybe,
Wouldn't that be
hopefully, you'll be
probate?
doing an MLW pod.
There's going to be like 85 podcasters who come out of the woodwork when this goes through probate.
He's taking over the channel this weekend. There's a whole bunch of these classic clapbacks. Shouts out to KJ for your classic clapbacks, but holy crap, there's something wrong with that fucking guy.
Oh, yeah. In the best way, though.
You said it so lovely. So, okay, heading on out of here. I don't want to keep everybody from having to hear this audio madness and watching the beauty that is your camera. Where can people find you? What are you going to plug? And when are you coming back to the law? You want to sit
Oh,
on in a full show with me and Tid one week?
anytime, brother.
All right.
I'm always available. You can catch me. Well, tomorrow I'll be playing somewhere in Newmarket. I don't even. That's embarrassing. I don't even know the name of the venue.
Who gives a shit?
I'm playing a show in Newmarket somewhere with my band, the Dominion. But there's gonna be a big. If you're into punk music, Spiderfest is all I have to say.
Oh,
If you don't
shit.
if you don't know what Spiderfest is, you might
Yeah.
not be an Ontario punk, but we will be playing Spiderfest again this year, so we're
Nice.
super stoked about that. If you want to find me on Instagram. I really got to change the handle, but it's at the real Uncle Bobby B. And
Oh, it's
if you
good
want to hear
stuff.
my band, look us up on Spotify. We are there, the Dominion, all caps. We got 3 singles up now, and the full length album is coming soon.
I was going to say, can you drop a date or no? You can't do that, can you?
Not yet. It's I think instruments are done, singing is almost done, and then it's just mix and master, and we're good to go.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, like, you know, we here at the law, we use a lot of different music. Every time something goes up, there's something unique. And I don't feel like I have it in me to ask you to stop that from happening and just give us something, give us a nice riff that we can just use for a couple weeks. I don't feel like asking you that, but can I just ask you that?
Yeah,
Can you give
okay.
us a riff? Can you smack a riff eventually? You don't have to do it right now.
Yeah,
Smack up a riff on your bass.
my bass is right here, bro.
Oh, dude, smack that. Can I hear a little smacking before we
It's
go?
it's it's out of tune because I just put new strings on it. I'm still breaking them in, but
Oh,
yeah, it's not
what's the deal with
not even in
MLW?
tune. Yeah, see, I got these sexy black strings on here. If these strings were any blacker, their surname would be X.
Oh, god damn it. I got to fucking cut that out. Actually, you know what? That's how we're ending it. All right, guys. We'll be back this week. Chris, like I said, is on duty. There's a lot going on in Toronto with SmackDown tonight. We have Money in the Bank tomorrow. NXT. If you're in the Toronto area or can make it out to the Toronto area, go there. You might just run into a couple guys from the Law, or you probably won't. Check out SMNE Radio at SundayNightsMainEvent.com. You can listen to episodes of The Law. You can listen to episodes of MLW Rewind with Bobby B. You can listen to Straight Talk Wrestling. You can listen to our flagship show on TSN, or you can find us degenerates anywhere on YouTube. If you just type in The Law Live Audio Wrestling. Don't go to that old channel, because if they upload a video, I'm going to sue the shit out of them. Otherwise, okay, Bob, you got anything you want to leave these people with before we roll the ride out?
Nah, brother, thanks for having me on. I'm always down to come on and shoot the shit with you.
The best in combat sports talk.
Be sure to click that subscribe button, click that like button, and tell all of your friends. Share it with everybody. We appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us. So let's make this thing even bigger.